Batman's call to action is when he discovers what Bane is up to. He is injured, however, so he confronts an acquaintance to help him out, and he gives Batman a knee brace that will bring him back to health. Much similar, Beowulf's call to action is when he hears about a monster causing ruckus in Hrothgar's mead hall. He then takes his trusted Geats from Geatland to the land of the Danes to help slay this unholy beast. Both of these characters also unfortunately share defeats. In The Dark Knight Rises, in his first fight with Bane, Bane picks up Batman, hoists him over his head, and drops him. When he drops him, he raises up his knee in an attempt to break his back, which he does. Shortly after, Bane takes Batman to an underground prison, where he rehabs and later escapes. In Beowulf, his defeat comes when he tries to slay the dragon in his hometown of Geatland. Once encountering the beast, his fellow Geat soldiers leave him in fear of dying. However, there is one soldier who stays behind and fights by Beowulf's side, Wiglaf. Long story short, Beowulf is horribly injured and about to die. Wiglaf then carries Beowulf into the city of Geatland to show all the locals what he has done. Shortly after he dies, he has a tower built in his name and to store all the treasure. Both characters also share success. In The Dark Knight, in the final scene, Batman realizes Bane's weakness is in his mask, which he uses to breathe. Batman then begins to punch Bane in his mask and manages to break one of the mask's tubes, making him unable to breathe. This later manages to kill Bane, and Batman saves Gotham from his rule. One of Beowulf's greatest successes came from when he slayed Grendel. This is what causes us to meet Beowulf. He hears about the monster while in Geatland and goes to help out Hrothgar in the land of the Danes. Since the monster, Grendel is known for attacking the mead hall after the parties they set up. So they set up a fake party, and afterward they sit and wait for Grendel to attack. Once Grendel does attack, he is unable to fight him with his sword, for Grendel placed a curse on all metal weapons. So instead of using weapons, he decides to use his fists. As the fight continues, he manages to rip off Grendel's arm, which then the unholy beast flees the mead hall and it ultimately kills him.
This appearance of Grendel attacking the city is in the mead hall, which is similar to a modern-day bar, where the Danes hung out and relaxed in. And Grendel heard all of the laughter, which made him feel very upset like an outcast. Grendel then killed 30 Danes after this event, which triggered Beowulf to come to Geatland and defeat Grendel. The scene in Batman where Bane first started to attack the city was in the stock market. This called Batman to come up out of his slumber. Batman realized that Bane would not stop until the entire city of Gotham would be destroyed. And for this reason, Batman came and tried to stop Bane before he demolished the city. The first major setting in the story of Beowulf is the dark and dreary pond where Beowulf meets Grendel and Grendel's mom, and they have a feud. Grendel's mom drags Grendel's arm down there, since Beowulf threw his severed arm on top of the rafters. Grendel's mom then took Grendel's arm and Hrothgar's best friend down there as vengeance. This setting correlates with Bane's hideout in Batman the Sewer. Batman the Sewer is equal to the dark and dreary mirror where Grendel and his mom live at. Both places are very dark and wet. The darkness in both of these places symbolize the evilness of Grendel and his mom and Bane. There is nothing positive that can come from the darkness of the sewer or the mirror. In most story, water symbolizes life, but in these two, the water is murky and dirty, which represents death. Because of the main heroes, Batman and Beowulf almost get killed in the murky, polluted waters. In Batman, Bane terrorizes Gotham City and plans on setting off a bomb that will decimate the entire city. Both of the stories show how the fear of the citizens set the mood and tone of the story. An important scene that appears in Batman but not Beowulf is when Batman gets his bat broken by Bane and was sent to a sewer prison, where he spent a little time at. While Bane was destroying the city, this scene shows how the city desperately needs a hero, and the city will fall apart without the help of Batman.
In their respective stories, both Beowulf and Batman defend their hometown from attacks of evil forces. In Beowulf, he defends his hometown, Geatland, from the attacks of the dragon that kills as a result of the stealing of its jeweled cup. Beowulf risks his life and eventually loses it in the challenging battle against the monster. Also, his weapons fail him, as his sword is unable to pierce the dragon's solid skin. Similarly to Beowulf, Batman's weapons also fail him to a certain extent in his long battle against Bane and Talia. The key to his defeat of Bane in the second battle scene is the precise blows to Bane's mask that supplies him with the gaseous substance disallowing the pain sustained from helping Talia escape prison. His weapons do come in handy, as Batman eventually ends the explosive threat by transporting it in his Batmobile as far out into the ocean and away from Gotham City as possible before it explodes. Batman fights with the same selflessness, always attempting to be what Gotham needs. His fight with Talia, and more specifically Bane, results in great physical and emotional pain. And his first fight with Bane, following his betrayal by Selina Kyle, or Catwoman, Batman's back is dislocated by the masked villain. Bane places him in the jail he came from, infamously called the Pit, where Bane helped the only person to escape, Talia, and sustained his injuries. Here, Batman escapes after removing the ropes from his attempt to make the jump and escape the cave, instituting fear as the fuel for his successful escape. At the end of the film, Batman is also stabbed by Talia in the Judicial Hall, which was not fatal, so Batman could feel the fire of 12 million souls he had failed. Every villain in both Beowulf and Dark Knight Rises is inspired by revenge. Grendel is a social outcast and exacts revenge on the Mead Hall and Hrothgar's kingdom by terrorizing Hero because he is not allowed there. After he is killed by Beowulf, Grendel's mother uses this concept because of her son's death. She is also killed by Beowulf in her fight, as her magical sword is the weapon of her own destruction. Lastly, the dragon's revenge is a result of a thief's deed. The dragon's precious jeweled cup is the instigator of his rage, but Beowulf again saves the day by killing the scaly creature in his dying efforts. In Dark Knight Rises, the villains, Bane and Talia al Ghul, use revenge as their motive as well. Talia is the daughter of Ra's al Ghul, founder of the League of Shadows. Her mother is killed by prisoners in the pit, and she is eventually helped to freedom by Bane, who suffers many wounds as a result. She treats Bane's injuries after joining her mercenary father's League of Shadows, and avenges her father's death, who is killed by Batman, by attacking Batman's Gotham City.
We aren't too sure of Beowulf's unusual circumstances of birth, but we are aware that he is in the superlative as an epic hero is. He is way better than most men. An archetypal hero is born into unusual circumstances of birth. Bruce Wayne's was that he was born into being the heir of the Wayne Enterprises, born into extreme wealth, and Wayne Enterprise is supposed to be one of the most expensive companies in the world, and that he now owns as a young man. The status quo in this particular film at the start is he's a hero retired with a broken body from the last film. He's grown his hair long, he has a beard, he has all these injuries. After his last battle being Batman, he's just broken and old. Beowulf's status quo is being a warrior in Geatland and just protecting his land and being a warrior. His call to action is the arrival of a new threat to Gotham, Bane. When Bane comes to Gotham City, Bruce remembers the promise he made to himself and his city after his parents were murdered, that he would be the hero that they needed. So he's forced out of retirement to protect his land, much like Beowulf. Beowulf's call to action is when he hears about the Mead Hall getting attacked by Grendel. Once he takes his call to action, it's time for him to cross the threshold. He does this when he travels into Bane's underground cave to battle him. This is the strange new land far from Gotham, under Gotham. He's alone in this cave to face the beast. Crossing the threshold for Beowulf is when he goes into the new land, into the Mead Hall, to fight with Grendel. Batman is faced with his toughest test yet. He's already crossed the threshold, reluctantly coming out of retirement to face Bane, and he's faced with a horrible injury of a back break after his fight with Bane, and he throws Batman into a pit prison where he has to regain his strength and rise back up. Beowulf has many tests, like his many battles with Grendel and Grendel's mom. Very cool stuff, guys. In the prison is when Batman meets his mentor, a blind prisoner that helps him Dr. Bruce back to health. He trains him to get strong and back to his Batman state of athleticism. He mentors him and teaches him how to escape the prison. This is where he rises back up. Rothgar is Beowulf's mentor. Very similar. You seeing this, guys? You catch on? He must literally rise for one of his tests to be the hero that he once was. This is where he makes his escape from the prison. He has to rise up this pit, jump out, which no man can do. Only happened once or twice before. So he makes his way out for another epic battle with Bane. Batman fights Bane and defeats him, but this is not his final test. There is a bomb that will destroy all of Batman's city, and he has to take the sacrifice of bringing it out to the ocean, knowing that he doesn't have enough time to make it back alive. But, since he's Batman, he does make it back. Beowulf's greatest sacrifice is his battle with the dragon, where he dies, giving up his life. In every hero's journey, there is a reward, and Bruce Wayne gets to complete his hero's journey with the reward of exactly what he wished for and what his butler wished for. He moves to Paris, and they actually had a scene earlier where they talked about seeing each other across a table at a restaurant. They don't say anything to each other, but they just know that everything's okay. And that's exactly what happens. So good job, Bruce Wayne. Beowulf's reward is when he got the lighthouse built after him, and people remembered his name forever, just like he wanted.
Batman and Beowulf both represent Jesus in their respected stories. Batman descends from his higher power to live and fight for the people, as Beowulf came down from his own land to come and fight for the people in his new land. Him and Jesus both protect their people in different ways and fight against monsters. Bruce Wayne and Batman also represents Beowulf. They both represent the second man and the father. Bruce Wayne lives his life while hiding his secret of being Batman, as the second hand of the father did too. Being Batman is his way to rid the city of the evil that killed his parents. Beowulf came down, and he represents the second man of the father because he's the protector of man. The next Christian symbol is the bat symbol in Batman. This represents the chainmail in Beowulf. The bat symbol symbolizes the cross. It is a symbol of hope and also of great power. When it is shown, enemies fear what is to come, and the followers feel protected. The symbol must be lifted to protect and save the city. In Beowulf, the chainmail protects him from evil. Alfred and Hrothgar both symbolize Joseph. Alfred becomes the foster father of his old master and teaches him life lessons along the way. Hrothgar took Beowulf in and taught him life lessons, just as Joseph did to Jesus. Another Christian symbol is Bane and Grendel. They represent the Antichrist. As the devil would do, Bane brings evil and chaos to the city of Gotham, as Grendel did against Hrothgar's mead hall. He promises that the people will be liberated and will have social justices, but in the end he will do anything to kill the citizen savior Batman, just as Grendel would do to Beowulf. Miranda Tate symbolizes Judas, as Beowulf's people also symbolize Judas because they left him during the dragon fight. Just as Judas was to Jesus, Miranda was a trusted friend of Bruce Wayne's. She got close to him and in the end betrays him during a moment of vulnerability. Beowulf's people, they stayed by his side as he went up to the dragon, but then left when the fight started. Catwoman symbolizes a follower of Christ and a new believer, which is also Wiglaf in the story of Beowulf. Catwoman is a poor woman struggling to live off of her own money, but is also a smart and conniving sinner who tricks others and robs people blind of their money. She seeks a clean slate in which all of her sins can be erased so she can start over in life. This clean slate is a computer program that can scrub international crime databases. She can achieve this through working with Batman and by doing good deeds. She symbolizes Wiglaf because in the end battle, she stays behind in the city to come back and help Batman fight Bane, as Wiglaf stayed behind to help Beowulf kill the dragon. The Christian idea of sacrifice is represented in Beowulf by when he sacrifices himself in the fight with the dragon at the end. He knows very well that he'll die, just like Jesus did for his people when he was crucified. Batman also sacrifices himself for the good of the city and the people who followed him. He takes the bomb out of the city knowing very well that he may not return.